look like you're drinking a communion glass.
I am. I drink wine like Jesus would.
With 2 hands?
This is exactly how I should be drinking wine. This is sacred. It's a relic. I feel like I just want to.
You know what you think?
It's good. How are you supposed to drink wine though, like this?
I would drink. Well, show him how you drink.
I hold mine like a
This one has a
chalice.
stem, so this is easy.
That one has the stem.
I would still hold it like a chalice, like this. Like, I mean, that's biblical. That's how I would hold it.
That is something. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
No, I don't drink wine like that. I drink wine like this.
Show us.
And I do like.
But I will start drinking it like this.
Well, of course. And as much as I love these glasses, Esmerette's glass for a white wine in particular is important because your hands will heat up the wine.
The wine, which is why you want to hold it here.
Yes, that's exactly right. So now that we have
The question
wine
is, who made up all these wine rules? That's just one of those things I've always kind of wondered, like, who made it this wine etiquette? Like, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, like you go to some restaurants and like the guy's pouring it and he's just sitting there. It needs to sit for 1 hour. You can't even eat. It's just, wine is a very interesting.
This sounds like a much bigger topic for
It is.
another day.
I'm asking the question because I know a lot of people are just like me who are wondering about wine. How do we get to this wine place?
You know what? Maybe on an episode of I Cook, You Measure, I will invite a wine expert and we will dive into these
Please.
questions.
Hey, can you give him the questions that I asked him, please?
Yes.
I will leave a set of
We
questions.
will take viewer questions to make sure that we figure out why the wine rules are what they are. But for right now, I need you to do some measuring and some prepping
Okay.
because that's why you are here.
This is a nice knife, too.
And it's sharp, so please be careful where you go with
I mean, don't judge me. This is not my hand. I usually get close up garlic this big, so these are a lot smaller than the ones I get.
Wait a minute. Are you making excuses before we get
Yes.
started?
This is-
Esmerette, is this what this is sounding
That's what
like
you're supposed to do when you're about to lose. You automatically make an
No.
excuse. You hear people do it all the time. They do this like.
Did you do that?
No, not when I played, but today I'm losing, so I'm gonna.
Really, what's your confidence level in the kitchen?
It just depends what I'm cooking, really, honestly. Like, I like to cook steaks, salmon, things like that.
What's the flavors with it?
Is that good enough? I mean, more?
That's excellent.
Oh.
I don't know what you're worried about.
This knife is super sharp. It's like, I almost feel like, you can do a lot of things with this knife.
Well, it should feel like you're like slicing through butter.
It's a beautiful knife. What brand is this? I
believe it's Shun. Shun?
I'm about to get one of these.
This is perfect.
It's like butter.
It's super nice.
Right then.
Smooth.
So what was the first recipe or menu item or dinner that you attempted to make on your own?
When I was a kid or now?
Well, as a kid, what was the very first thing you tried?
Fried chicken.
You tried fried chicken out of the gates?
Yeah, of course. I never really crawled. I just started walking.
So how did
At least that's what my mom said.
So how did this go? First of all, did your mom know you were making fried chicken on your own?
No comment.
Okay. At what point did she discover you were making fried chicken?
That's a good question. Probably when she seen all the chicken bones everywhere. I'm not even sure if I cooked the chicken all the way through now that I think about it, but I just kind of seen her cooking the chicken. I was like, man, chicken or cereal?
I mean,
No in-betweens.
right. Right.
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken requires a lot of oil in a pan.
Yeah. But nowadays, you can't leave your kids at home alone. Back then, you could leave your kids.
That's true.
Is this what happens?
I'm just saying, now nobody will leave their kids home for an extended period of time. Back then, you could be 4, your mom would be at work, you know what I mean?
That's true.
She'd be like, don't go outside, don't do this, don't do that. You're like, but I'm 4. Everything you said not to do, I probably will do it.
It's true. My mom did leave my brother and I at home just to go to the convenience store. She was actually going to go get gas, go to the convenience store. This was supposed to be like a 10-minute trip just to see if my brother and I could handle being alone by ourselves without fighting. I wanted to show her that not only could we not fight, but I could be productive. So I made fruit salad.
Okay, using knives.
and I used a knife. And I got home and my mom flipped out that I used a knife without her there. I know. I totally get it now. But the fruit salad was great.
Yeah,
Nothing
I was gonna say,
happened.
how did it come out?
What's she expect
Yeah.
though?
I mean, you would think my parents
Yeah.
know me well enough. It's like, stop talking. Do you think that's going to happen? No. Stay out of the kitchen. Do you think that's going to happen? No.
That's true too.
I know. See, you know me well enough to know this.
I feel like, but when I cooked the chicken, it was just like fried chicken is so easy. It's just like you
Well,
put
that's
the
because
flour.
your mom made it look easy.
She did make it look easy. I mean, but it kind of cooks itself. You put in the oil and.
I don't know. This is not the easiest thing to start with.
Really?
The
Fried chicken?
hardest thing to start with.
Yeah, that's not
Wow,
the easiest thing to
that's-
start with. I'm impressed.
I'm sorry. I thought that was easy. Now, making Tuscan shrimp on the first time, that seems very complicated.
Oh.
No, this is going to be so easy.
No, I'm saying if I was a kid, I would be. I mean, I did like peanut butter and jelly too, but I had to do it the right way though. The jelly, mix the with the jelly, toast the bread, cut it in half. You have to toast the bread.
Wait, but you said mix the jelly.
Mix the jelly and the peanut butter. You never did that?
Why would I do that when you just...
That's a new. That's a new thing. It's like.
Why are you waving the knife at
I'm
me?
not waving the knife. This is right here.
I'm not the only one. It's like, yeah.
This knife is sharp though.
It's good.
This-
Like, I'm
I would not-
watching.
I would not like anybody.
It's been good.
Anybody on TV doing this. Isn't this the part of the Holy Trinity though?
I know, but that's amazing that friendships that started in football still have a group text going.
But me and Red, we also went to college together, so we was on the same D line, and then like our kids played together. So it's like a whole thing. So, but everybody else is just we kind of just always talk and like check in because I feel like one of the main things about athletes is that we don't check in on each other. It's like the last thing you want to do is like read that somebody had a suicide, and it's like if I'd have just checked on them, and so we try to like check on each other just to make sure like, are you good? You mentally good? You physically good? Your family good? Do you need anything? And if they say yeah, we're good.
That's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, those are difficult conversations to have, but who better to have them with than the people who experience what you experienced?
Yeah. Because that's a hard transition to get out of football.
Yeah, super hard. I think people don't realize anything that you put that amount of time into is always going to be hard to change. A transition is just hard for anybody in life. Like if you were in the military, you were a chef, all of a sudden you stopped and you had to do something else. Like it just gets complicated. But like to be able to have a group of people who understand what that transition is like, it makes the conversation a lot easier. And then sometimes even if you married to somebody, you can't always know exactly what they're feeling if you haven't been through what they've been through. But to support them through it is actually where we can find some solace. So having teammates like that kind of makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. That's what makes you such a great teammate.
Yeah, that's what we.
Deep.
Yeah, we got to stay connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's one thing I probably regret. And then that's it. And then Russell throwing the interception in the Super Bowl.
You know what I thought was interesting?
We should have won, America. We should have won. Why we throw the ball? You explain to me why we threw the ball? I forgave everybody though. I'm working on myself, so forgiveness is needed.
It starts to smell good though.
I don't know where I take this conversation from here. I don't know if this goes in the outtakes or if we turn this into a therapy session. No idea where
Cooking
I'm
is a therapy session.
It is a therapy session. Our sauce is getting happy over here. We like this. I'm going to add the shrimp to it. That's going to go really fast right now. Then we're going to
That looks super good.
It makes
good.
you're
I'm not
making me
gonna try
hungry.
this.
Why do you sound surprised that it looks super good?
I'm just saying, now when I go home this weekend and I go, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make something. Tuscan shrimp. Where'd you get that from? It was on the TV show. We learned how to do that.
Thank you.
It's a
Make
good-
sure that you say the name of the show, I Cook, You Measure.
I'm not getting paid, so no. I'm joking. Nah, I'll tell it for real. I said no, I learned it from Jen from the TV show. I Cook, You Measure. It's actually...
It's actually, skip the word actually. Just
Actually
start
real
with,
cooking.
it's actually real cooking. I like that.
That is good.
We're workshopping how you talk about this.
It's actually good. It's real cooking. We use her real kitchen. Be real nice. She had a nice Japanese knife, I'm sure.
I think we're going off topic on that one. We can just say it's really good.
We haven't tasted it. This is all
It smells really good.
Instagrammable right now. We gotta see.
It's going to be delicious.
Yeah, but I believe it's gonna be delicious because it looks good.
Cooked with love.
Yeah. How long you leave this on for?
This should cook. The shrimp are going to cook in about 2 minutes or so. We're going to add some spinach here, and then I'm just going to let it like simmer for
Can you
a
put
hot
this on
second.
anything? What all can you put this dish on?
We are going to serve it with some toasted bread, but you could also put it on pasta. It would be really good. Or you could do polenta.
Ooh. What about grits?
Grits would be excellent. This would be a different form of like shrimp and grits. Yeah, that would be excellent.
We'll try. Italian shrimp and grits.
How did you, Michael, at what point did you start thinking about life outside of football?
Oh, dang. I think early on when I did get drafted, I was like, all right, girl, I guess I need to start thinking about doing something else. And then kind of working on that. But I think, like, once you start to have a family, you kind of start thinking about, like what's the purpose of life and what should we be doing? It's like, I often think that, like, as a person, you have a talent and you're trying to find your purpose. And sometimes we get our talent mixed up with our purpose, and trying to find the actual purpose of life is a difficult thing. And then, like, so you start to think about that outside of football and, like, being like, okay, what am I supposed to do? And so then it's like you have money, you end up having some success, you end up having notoriety, but then you like, that's all fake. It doesn't really mean anything. But then you try to figure out, like, what can I do as a human to, like, make impact? And I think that's where you kind of find your legacy and find out how you use your purpose and use your voice and use all these different things to, like, try to make something that's impactful. I think that's the hardest thing to do, and I think that's what I kind of started doing, like, my third or fourth year, started to think about those things and how do I engage with, society in that way.
So what did you end up doing? Like, were you traveling? Were you reading books? Were you talking to a therapist? Like, how do you go about
I was not talking to a therapist in America. I was not. Nah, sorry. I mean, I don't think talking to a therapist is bad, but I think for me it was like reading a lot. I mean, I love reading. I've always been like an avid reader since I was a kid. I used to love like science fiction books and like fiction. But then as I got older, I like biographies a little bit more, just kind of thinking about how people think and how they got to like where they were in life. And then so like traveling too, I think traveling was like the biggest thing. I think when you travel, you realize that we were talking about scale earlier, and like scale is like a design element. And like when you see scale, you kind of feel small to bigger issues. And then like, I think that is a human thing too. Like you go out and you see like, wow, there's a lot of issues and humans are very small to those things. But like if we come together, we can make a lot of change. And I think like traveling, you actually see like people, you see people, I mean like really see them. I think a lot of times we like glance when we're walking by, but like to see people in their element, in their culture, and have a sense of understanding of who they are and the complexities to how they got there, I think that really opens your eyes. Like going to Haiti with Cliff and like building schools, or being on a Native American reservation, or even just being like in Senegal working with, young girls and stuff like that. Like all those things kind of shape your vision of what the world could be.
Yeah, that is, it truly does change like how you see people and the empathy you have towards people, right? And the understanding of the fact that they don't see or experience the world the same way.
No, and I think that's super important. I even think like how I think about architecture, like because I'm like studying architecture in school and stuff in general. But I think architecture in general is just the empathy for space. Like how do we see space? Like having empathy for space allows us to make space in a clearer way and have a sense of consciousness about things. And that's why I say intentionality is super important. I think a lot of times we do things without intention, and even doing things without intention can be permanent issues. You could be doing something and not realizing. I try to tell my daughter that all the time, like, you could be in a car and be texted and, and have a wreck, and like that could impact somebody's life. And you didn't have the intentions to do that, but like walking around without intention can leave you in places that you don't want to be. So yeah, I think that's important. And that's the thing too. I also think people always think about like revolution, and they always think about it as being like a big thing. But revolution has always started with the common man. Through every single revolution that we look throughout time, whether it's here, whether it's in France, Africa, wherever it is, like revolution starts with people and how we think and how we connect with others. So like even just thinking about food and like, as somebody who has something at home and being like, how can I give this to somebody else? I think that's the most beautiful thing we can do, And I think, as we continue on this journey of life, is just to make those moments happen.
Yeah, and also the small, consistent actions, and really looking at like how do we create sustainability and longevity in this, and how do you get people to participate and create healthier habits across the board.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Such great work.
Yeah.
I Cook, You Measure is presented by Safeway, who welcomes everyone at the table through the Nourishing Neighbors program. You can donate in stores or get involved with the Back to Action campaign. Our food banks need volunteers to ensure no one in Washington goes hungry. Make a difference in the fight against food insecurity by using the QR code, and let's get back to action together.